say, why do I have to hate it? Why do I have to have it? You can talk to yourself and you can control yourself.
Та нар өөрсдөө ярилцчих
There is no
болно.
absolute thing in there that's pushing you, if you follow me. And there, as soon as you do that, you are happy. You have nirvana. And then there's different ways that people interpret that nirvana.
За ингэснээр одоо нирванд хүрэх боломжтой.
And I won't go into that right now. And then finally, so the doctor says you can be cured. The human being is here, has the capability that we can learn how to overcome their sickness, and they can be really happy, and they can help make other beings happy. It's a Buddha land. This is the Vimalakirti Sutra reveals that this planet, even now, in the midst of all of this confusion and chaos, is Shakyamuni's Buddha land, actually. I know that some people don't necessarily follow the Vimalakirti Sutra, but it's very vividly revealed there to Shariputra. And then, as a doctor, the Buddha gives a therapy. And the therapy is this, the Four Noble Truths, so it's a prescription. Okay? So this is what I want to, the reason I'm going this, a lot of you already know this, of course, but the reason I'm emphasizing this is this the foundation of a religion? A doctor's prescription? The patients are sick. They're living in an unreality, meaning they're somewhat psychotic. Actually, I'm sorry, I apologize, but in case you're not enlightened, you have a kind of psychosis. In that you think you're something that you're not. And you think the world is something that it isn't. And therefore you're having a hard time getting along. And that's what Buddha sees. So he's not saying, believe in me and you'll be safe. That's not his answer. But on the other hand, he's saying, if you understand yourself, you can be happy and you can be fine. So it does not fit the definition of the founding of a religion. Religions, as we define them in academic terms, even is some God tells some prophet or some leader or teacher, have people believe in me or believe in this or that, and then you'll be saved, and I'll take care of you. And that's why I like to translate the Four Noble Truths. I like to translate them as the four friendly facts, or noble, if you say noble fact. They're like facts. They're not something you believe in. They're something you have to deal with. And the burden is on you to learn, to heal, to follow the therapy, if you follow me. Now this leads to my main point within this short time that I have to speak. And, I don't want to go into the history. I want to go back. And the main point is, Buddha is a scientist. He was better than Einstein or Heisenberg or Newton or whoever you like. He was the supreme scientist. That's the definition of a Buddha. He's not a prophet. He's not, but by the way, he's not non-theistic in the sense that he talks to the gods. He believes they exist. He meets them. They do exist. But he denies, and actually in the Buddhist literature, in the Pali Sutta, for example, Kevada Sutta, they say that Brahma himself says that he didn't create the universe. He was just the first being who showed up when he reached the point where beings could live here. And then some other beings came, and when they saw him, they said, Dada, Papa. I'm not your papa. I just, what's happening? Where are we? And then they got very upset. So they said, okay, I'm Papa. Everything's fine. I'm in control. And then from that, people got the idea that he created everything, he said. But he wanted Buddha. Then he sent a message to this yogi, Kevada, to go ask Buddha to tell people that God is a good guy. He likes to help people. He's very powerful, but he's not omnipotent. And therefore, when horrible things happen to them, they shouldn't blame him. He doesn't like them. Be angry with him. And I have come to think that very strongly, that the projection of omnipotence into another being, and to think they are controlling everything about you, is something that makes people angry whenever anything goes wrong.
Ямар нэгэн буруу юм болол тэг хүмүүс уурладаг.
Oh, he's omnipotent, but what did he do to me? Why did he do this to me?
Бурхан намайг яагаад ингэж байгаа юм бэ? Ингэж хийдэж
So
байна
I don't
вэ
think
гэж
it's healthy. I
хүмүүс
think the
одоо
gods are
заримдаа
very
уурцдаг.
powerful and they are nice. We can learn from them somewhat, but they want us to take care of ourselves actually. And even in traditions where they get all
Бурхан
pious
одоо
about
биднийг өөр
omnipotence,
өөрсдөө
they
бие
always have
сайн
God
авч
help
явахыг
those who
одоо
help
сургадаг.
themselves. They have this kind of statement, and that is acknowledging the lack of omnipotence. But now my point is, therefore, Buddha is a scientist, and therefore the Buddhist
Бурхан
tradition,
багш бол шинжлэх
I have
ухаанч
the
юм.
sense of not having much time, the Buddhist tradition is a
Буддын уламжлал нь
tradition of education from the beginning.
За
It was we
боловсрол
have
юм.
to unlearn our distorted way in which our consciousness is structured, the instincts we have from previous lives, and we have to learn
Бидний
them.
өмнөх
And
амьдралын
we have to
мэдрэмжүүд
learn
зэн сав
about what reality is. And it's that by learning what reality is, we're saved. And,
бид одоо
I know
бодит
this is academic
орчинг
setting,
одоо
but
сурдаг.
I don't think, and I don't think we should think, that academic means it's something irrelevant, which people do think is somewhat. Because
Хүмүүс
academics should
академик
be
гэхээр
yogis.
тийм ач
That means
холбогдол өгдөггүй.
academics should connect themselves to their work and to their quest of truth and knowledge of reality, and they should put their life into it like a yogi does. And
За
it's a
хүмүүс
really-
одоо
it's a
яг
kind of
йогчд шиг
practice to
одоо
be
бодит
truly
зүйлд
teacher,
одоо
and every
анхаарал хандуулах
teacher is a
хэрэгтэй.
learner, and we have always still more to learn, I believe. And the good teachers are the ones who are learning while they are teaching and learning from
Сайн
the
багш
students
нар
and learning
одоо зааж
from
явах
having
үед
to explain
өөрсдөө
to
бас
the students. I
сурдаг.
really think so. So, okay, so he's a scientist. Now,
За бурхан багш шинжлэх
first
ухаанч
thing,
юм.
take physics.
За
In
физик.
materialist, we are in a materialist culture, the modern culture.
За бид орчин үед
And the
одоо
materialist
материалист орчинд
culture
амьдарч байна.
is very psychotic itself, actually, because it
За
has
энэ
it's
орчин нас
being imprisoned in
өөрөө
a
бас замбрааг
dogma
байдаг.
that everything matter is all that counts. There's only matter, and well, energy is released when matter is unfrozen. But actually, it's just a one thing. It's like a
Энерги
monistic
ялгардаг.
theory, and the only thing opposite of matter is nothingness. And they feel that when you
За,
are a
матери
living
эсрэг
being,
юу ч үгүй
it's just a material quantity.
гэж
We are
байдаг гэж
biological
үздэг.
robots, and when we die, we automatically cease to exist. We become nothing.
Бид
And they think
нас ахын үед
that's very
алга
scientific.
болдог.
And actually, that's slightly insane. I'm sorry to say, we have to face that fact.
Энэ гэтээ буруу үзэл юм ба.
How can you become nothing? Who discovered nothing? This I have this
Хин
question.
ингэж
For years, I have talked with
хин ч үгүй
scientific colleagues,
гэж үздэм
and they
бэ.
have asked me, what makes you think there's former and future life? That's a superstitious, old-fashioned religious belief.
Дараагийн амьдрал яг юу
Who believes that? Then
тохиолддог
there are
вэ?
people who like Buddhism, and they say, oh, I like Buddhism, but not that former and future life stuff. That's a crazy
зарим хүмүүс би
old-fashioned
буддизм
stuff. There are people
дуртай.
who say that, who are supposed to be experts.
Гэтээ дараагийн амьдрал
My
байдаг
point,
гэж
and I used to say this,
санал
that
нийлдэггүй.
people remember this, and there's that phenomenon, and all kind of things. And they say, oh, that's all anecdotal. That's meaningless. That's nothing. There's no
Энэ одоо
state
ямар ч
proof of that.
утгагүй юм гэж
And
зарим
then you
хүмүүс
feel
үздэг.
funny, and then that's the end of the conversation. And then I finally realized, I started asking them,
Би сүүлд ойлгосон би тэднээс
you claim
асуусан.
to be an empiricist and to only follow what you discover and what you experience. You claim you're not like crazy religions who have theories and
Та нар
dogmas.
тэ
and you
үүнийг
don't have.
яаж батлах юм
But
бэ?
then therefore I have to ask you, who,
Батлаагаа гэж ингэж ярих нь зөв юм уу?
which person?
Яг
Which
хин тэгж
scientist
хэлээд
discovered
батлаад
nothing?
байгаа юм бэ?
They will
Гэж би
actually, some of
тэднээс
the hard
асуусан.
cases will actually say, they'll look like this and they'll think, maybe it was a mathematician. Maybe it was
Магадгүй нэг
Laplace or
математикч
something.
баталсан баг.
And maybe in mathematics they discovered nothing. Actually, the Indians discovered nothing. You Indians who are here,
Та нар
they
энэтхэгчүүд
discovered the decimal system.
юу ч байхгүй гэж та нар үздэг.
They discovered, and they called it shunya, which is what Buddha
Та нар
discovered.
шуnya гэж
Shunyata,
нэрлсэн.
emptiness. And what they call
За
emptiness,
үүний буддизмд
which
одоо
is
хоосон
not
чанар гэж
nothingness.
үздэг.
Emptiness is totally not nothingness. Emptiness is simply, it's very simple
Хоосон
to
чанар
everyone
гэдэг
can
одоо за юу
understand
ч
it.
үгүй.
Emptiness is the fact that all relational things do not have any non-relational absolute essence or core. So they're all empty of any absolute core essence. Do you follow me? That means you don't have an absolute identity. You only have
та нарт
relative
одоо
identities that are made up out of your
absolute
experience,
зүйл
and your
гэж
habits,
байхгүй.
and your instincts from previous life. And therefore, science the former and future life is biology, it's science. And it's the default reality because continuity is the default in nature, Buddha observed. As the modern people with their matter, they also agree conservation of energy. But they don't know what energy is, but they know they say it doesn't get destroyed. And it just changes. And why should the human being be different? Why should the mind be different? Never destroyed and continue after the laws of the body. That's the default thing. If someone is going to say, just by dying you become anesthetized and you become nothing, eternal nothing, that's up to them to prove that. And actually, guess what? Nobody has discovered nothing. Ямар зүйл зохиолдгүй гэдэг тэд нар яагаад баталж чадахгүй юм бэ? You don't have to be a genius to know that. There's no such thing. Үүнийг ойлгохын тулд гоц ухаантан байх шаардлагагүй. So you can't go there. Do you get it? So some of you, you're academics, some of you, because it's supposed to be, you can't be hired in a university today unless you believe in materialism. And you worship the natural sciences. And why? Because they use the warfare, mainly, you know. And therefore they have a higher status in the materialist university and so forth, the natural scientists. But basically they are stuck that everything is nothing, which also destroys ethics. You understand? It destroys the meaningfulness of life. It destroys the purpose of life. It enables suicide to young people because they think they just won't stop existing. And actually, it means we don't even exist now. We're just deluded to think we do by our brain. And we're not even here. So then people can do anything what they can get away with, basically. There's no reason for them to be now, Buddha, and emptiness means, therefore, relativity. People get mad at me and they say, oh, that's Einstein's word. You can't use that word. Well, who said? Einstein had one theory of relativity, which was very excellent. And Buddha had a more total theory of relativity. Everything is totally relative. And once everything is totally relative, the relativity is the absolute. So the absolute is all of this. So what that means is that behaving well here, making others happy, treating them well, is an absolute determined thing to do. That you can't say, well, I'm not going to be nice. That's absolute in a religion or in a physical lab or something. You know, that's people do. We make out of our concepts, we create something, we reify some idea of God or some idea of nothing or some idea of anything, and then we go and say that's important, and how I deal with other people is not important. And I think this is a very common thing, and it's particularly a very strong male habit, I should say, by the way. You know, but I'm sorry to be rude to the materialists, but, you know, which my teacher and dear friend, His Holiness Dalai Lama, is extremely polite, and he will listen to their brilliant theories for hours. And they never ask him a question, what is Buddha science? Never. They assume he's pre-modern, his old-fashioned, some sort of thing, religious, and then, oh, that's frightening former and future life business. They don't want to hear about it. Because why? It's a scary thing. You think you get out of your consequences of how you have behaved in life just by dying, and you don't want to hear that you might, if you've done some really bad things in your life, you will be paying the price later. It's scary. It doesn't have to take some sadistic idea of an omnipotent God who will throw you in hell because you didn't believe the thing that they wanted you to believe, which is also irrational, I totally agree. But it's your own causation. Is like that. So, first of all, as a physicist, the Buddha preceded Heisenberg and Bohr and the quantum people, the honest ones who realized that they couldn't pin down any particle of matter, that it just eluded their control and it eluded their conceptuality, and who faced and admitted that theory of uncertainty, this kind of thing. Not the ones who were still struggling, like Einstein did, that, oh, we're going to figure out 11 dimensions and string theory and all kind of crazy things, which is all just mystical, really. just completely make no sense. And then that way we'll keep our power of conceptually trying to control the universe, which Buddha said you can't do. You can control yourself in your interrelatedness, and you can make a better local universe where you are with the other beings that you're with, and not be non-violent and happy and so forth. And so that's the outcome of his physical understanding. And there are many other things. And then Buddhist medicine was wonderful. And they had, along with, like Ayurveda, it worked with Ayurveda. Notice, by the way, that the Ayurveda diagnosis and everything is very similar to the Buddhist one, which is preserved in Tibet. So then we come to biology. Karma in Buddha's time meant your ritual action in the Vedic ritual, because that was the action that determined your destiny. Because your destiny was controlled by the Vedic gods, and you had to hire a Brahmin priest, or if you were a Brahmin priest, you yourself made sacrifices in the Vedic altar, and then the gods would bless you, and you would have a good outcome, whatever you wanted, wealth, victory, progeny, health, and so on. And so karma meant the way you control yourself, the kind of action that helps you control your destiny through the power of the gods. But in the time of the Upanishads and Buddha and the great Sutrakaras and all the great Indian sages and rishis, they rebelled against that ritualistic thing, and they just realized that the gods did not have everything under control, actually, and karma became, instead of ritual action, it became your ethical action. Do you kill people? Do you steal from them? Do you abuse them sexually? Do you lie to them? Do you slander them, and so forth? You think such negative thoughts, 3 types of negative, harmful, greedy, and unrealistic, deluded thoughts. And these things became your karma. And so you have the power and the responsibility to shape your own experience